and Ray Romano. Yes, sir. How about that? Everybody loves Raymond. It's the have some fun and look to birdie every hole you possibly can. Ray, it's an absolute pleasure. Great to have you with us here today. How is your golf game right now? Let me hear it. Go ahead.
I don't know. It's I'm a 13 handicap. You know, I come out here and my goal is to see how many of these world-class athletes I can beat. That's the beauty of golf. You know, it's the great equalizer. There's not many I can beat, but it's fun when I can sneak ahead of a few of them, you know?
Absolutely. You know, you can 4 or 5 hole stretch. Why not? Now, you grew up a big Bobby Mercer fan and switched to the Mets in the '69 year when they won the title. You were at the clinching game running on that field. Let's get to that for a sec. Go ahead.
I did not switch to the Mets. I grew up a Yankee fan. I'm still a Yankee fan, but I'm also a New York fan. You know, I'm a New Yorker in my blood, and I live in L.A. now, so I root for New York. In '69, my father did happen to take us to the game where they clinched the division, and we ran on the field. But I am first and foremost a Yankee fan.
First and foremost, and I'll tell you, those Yankee teams to root for in the mid-'60s were lousy teams where you kind of missed that little run they had. Huge run, 61, 64, you're young, and they were bad for a long time in the '60s.
Yeah, no, I missed it, but I didn't really get into it. I was born in '57. I hate to show my age, but so I really started getting into them in the '70s more, you know. I just missed Mickey Mantle and all that. You know, so it was more like the '70s. And unfortunately, I'm a Jet fan. Not unfortunately, I love the Jets. But I say unfortunately because they also haven't won since '69. And I had just started getting into football after '69. So it's been a while now since we had a Super Bowl.
Oh, I see. You missed that Jet Colt scenario with Namath down in the Orange Bowl. Yeah. Fascinating. You got turned on to comedy with Saturday Night Live, and you really were a long-time stand-up comic, and then Letterman gave you a shot. Let's discuss that. Go ahead.
Yeah. I've been doing stand-up for 11 years. I was making a living doing something I love to do. No complaints. And my first Letterman spot went pretty well, and I went home. And that Saturday on the weekend, it was a Saturday, I got a phone call at my house in Queens from the producer, Rob Burnett, and he said that Dave liked what he saw. He wants to sign you to a development deal. They're called development deals, where they sign a guy for about a year and they try to develop a sitcom. And that's how Everybody Loves Raymond started. Dave Letterman, Worldwide Pants, was our producer. And I mean, had I not done Letterman, I'm not sitting here with you.
Yes, you are. You were talented. Yes, you were. How nervous were you with that first Letterman spot? You got to go on there and you got one chance in 5 minutes to make them laugh. How hard were you? How hard was that for you? Let me hear.
Yeah, I mean, it's nerve-wracking. You know, it's I had done, not to quote my resume, but I had done the Johnny Carson show 4 years prior to that, and that was '91. God, I'm old. Anyway, and that was the most, you know, at that point, that was the pinnacle of my career, and I was literally numb in the when I was getting dressed to go from my hotel room. I almost thought I was going to faint. And so it was 4 years later that I got Dave, and Dave was the guy now. Johnny had retired, and Dave was the guy. And for a stand-up comedian, especially, you know, and it's like, you know, I mean, it's like jumping off a cliff. The curtain opens and you just go, and you know, you've done it. I've done it 1,000 times. I just got to do it right now, you know. And luckily, it went well because you never can tell, you know.
Oh, absolutely not. Did you know right away, Ray, that you had a hit with Everybody Loves Raymond? I mean, did you know what that pilot?
No.
Boy, we got a good show here. Oh, you didn't know?
Not at all.
Go ahead. Tell me about that.
Not at all. Because, you know, I was an unknown. I mean, Peter Boyle and Doris Roberts, of course, were established, but Brad Garrett was pretty much an unknown, Patty Heaton. And the audience that would come in, we filmed it in front of a live audience. So the audience that would come into the studio, they didn't know who we were. They had no idea about the show. And we were writing, you know, material based on character. We weren't really writing jokes. And so they weren't really laughing. You know, the first couple shows, we had to just trust that the material was good. And no, we did not think. I lived in Queens, New York, and we filmed in LA. So I flew out there, and I had 3 children under the age of 3. I had twins, and my wife stayed in New York, and I stayed there because we didn't know if the show was going to get canceled in 6 weeks. And luckily, you know, we were on Friday in the beginning, and we were in like 100th place in the ratings. So it wasn't looking good. But then he moved us to Mondays for the last 6 episodes, which was a prime spot. And we jumped to 12th place. And that for those last 6 episodes, that's when we knew we have a chance to stick around. And then they renewed us for next season. And then my wife said, I'm coming out here. I'm not staying home with 3 kids by myself. We're moving out. And, yeah.
Funny.
Yeah.
Did you know Patty Heaton's father was a huge sports writer sports writer in Cleveland.
Cleveland, yeah.
Way back. She was a big sports fan, and you're a big sports fan, so that must have clicked. How about that for a sec? Go ahead.
Yeah, we didn't, we made my character a sports writer, but it had nothing to do with Patty's background, but that was pretty cool to know that he was a big sports writer. But we tried to find an occupation, we kept it organic. I tried to keep it as close to my real life because in real life I have twins and a daughter. My brother was a cop in real life. So we couldn't make my occupation a stand-up. We could have, but Seinfeld was on the air and Seinfeld had done it. So we tried to find an occupation that involved creativity and got me out of the house, and sports writing was the closest. I was a sports fan. So that it just felt like a natural thing,
It sure did. Now, you bought a lot of those.
Newsday. Go ahead.
Yeah, you bought a lot of those 69 Mets on cameo appearances. Your dog was called Shamsky. Here comes Cleon Jones. How about that for a sec, Ray? I'm interested. Go ahead.
Yes. Well, like I said, I'm a New York fan. So the 69 Mets, to have them on was unbelievable. I think we had like every main guy except for Seaver. I think for some reason Tom Seaver couldn't make it. So I had a dog named Shamsky on the show. I mean, it was surreal. It was surreal to have all those guys. And as a matter of fact, Art Shamsky has the podcast now, and I just did his podcast a couple of months ago. He's doing real well. It was fun, man. I remember you, man. I was a fan of you the whole time in New York.
Ray, from you, that's quite an honor. I can tell you that. All right, when you decide to move on, you have that character, it's like Carol O'Connor. You're never going to forget who Archie Bunker is. Alan Alda, you're never going to forget Hawkeye. How about you? Have you been able to move along and sort of develop other personalities, as everybody knows you on that great show? Have you been able to separate yourself from that in the last, say, 10 years? Let me hear.
Well, I have been able to. It took a while for the audience to. But what you're saying is exactly right. They see you for 9 years. They see you as that one character. So it was little steps. It was little baby steps, because I wanted to start getting into the world of film and try dip my toe into the drama venue, But it took a while for the audience to accept me. I did parent. What happened was I created my own show after called Men of a Certain Age, which was like a dramedy. And that was a little bit where they could see a little bit of different side. Then I did Parenthood, and little by little, I got offered other roles finally. A big break for me was when Scorsese offered me a role in the show Vinyl. But listen, I'm always going to be known for this character. Everybody loves Raymond, which is fine. I feel honored. But right now I'm into doing a little bit more. A couple of dramatic roles, it's working out pretty good. It took a while though.
It took a while. You hit that first drive right down the middle today. Birdie that first hole, and away you go. Thanks, sir.
I can't guarantee
Thanks for coming on. Yes, I can. Right ahead. Hit a 3-wood right down the middle.
3-wood. You're right.
Ray,
you're right.
Great to have you with us. It's an honor for us. Appreciate you coming on here today.
Same here. Appreciate it. Thank you.